Good evening, London. Allow me first to apologize for
That's the emergency channel!
I do, like many of you, appreciate the comforts of the everyday routine, the security of the familiar, the tranquility of repetition.
Bloody hell.
I enjoy them as much as any bloke. But in the spirit of commemoration, whereby those important events of the past, usually associated with someone's death or the end of some awful bloody struggle, are celebrated with a nice holiday, I thought we could mark this November the 5th, a day that is sadly no longer remembered, by taking some time out of our daily lives to sit down and have a little chat. There are, of course, those who do not want us to speak.
Let me think, just let me think.
I suspect even now, orders are being shouted into telephones, and men with guns will soon be on their way.
It's Chancellor Sutler.
Damn it!
Why? Because while the truncheon may be used in lieu of conversation, words will always retain their power. Words offer the means to meaning, and for those who will listen, the enunciation of truth. And the truth is, there is something terribly wrong with this country, isn't there?
You designed it, sir. You wanted it foolproof. You told me every television in London.
Cruelty and injustice, intolerance and oppression. And where once you had the freedom to object, to think and speak as you saw fit, you now have censors and systems of surveillance coercing your conformity and soliciting your submission.
We need cameras.
How did this happen? Who's to blame? Well, certainly there are those who are more responsible than others, and they will be held accountable. But again, truth be told, if you're looking for the guilty, you need only look into a mirror. I know why you did it. I know you were afraid. Who wouldn't be? War, terror, disease. There were a myriad of problems which conspired to corrupt your reason and rob you of your common sense. Fear got the best of you, and in your panic you turned to the now High Chancellor Adam Sutler. He promised you order, he promised you peace, and all he demanded in return was your silent, obedient consent.
Inspector, you're almost through.
Last night, I sought to end that silence. Last night, I destroyed the Old Bailey to remind this country of what it has forgotten. More than 400 years ago, a great citizen wished to embed the 5th of November forever in our memory. His hope was to remind the world that fairness, justice, and freedom are more than words. They are perspectives. So if you've seen nothing, if the crimes of this government remain unknown to you, then I would suggest that you allow the 5th of November to pass unmarked. But if you see what I see, if you feel as I feel, and if you would seek as I seek, then I ask you to stand beside me 1 year from tonight, outside the gates of Parliament, and together we shall give them a 5th of November that shall never, ever be forgotten.
There's no crying in baseball!
Frankly, my dear, I don't give a damn.
Why so serious?
Where we're going, we don't need roads.
You're gonna need a bigger boat.
I love you.
I know.
Here's Johnny!
Welcome back, Basement Dwellers. As you can tell, it is Trish here with Dace, as always, because none of our other friends are educated with movies. Don't blame me. Apparently, my voice decided to not come back.
It's gone. It's stuck like this forever.
I mean, that'll probably make some people happy, but it's quite a bit of a struggle for me. But as much as that sucked, last week was a little busy, but that was not stopping me from making Dace talk about these movies because I needed to.
Mm-hmm.
So we are rounding out my birthday month with the last four. We have coming up, we start off with Howl's Moving Castle, which came out in 2004, which is one of my top movies ever. V for Vendetta, which is in 2005. Repo, the Genetic Opera in 2008, and then How to Train Your Dragon in 2010. Now, much like the first set of them, apparently I decided to do 2 animated and 2 live action, not on purpose, by the way, it just ended up that way. But you brought up a good point, and I didn't even think about it, how a lot of these movies apparently are about fighting against the government, like a bad government, and it made me laugh because I didn't even realize it.
You got one that's all about like the whole, like kind of like a euphemism for the Iraq War. You got one that fights fascism, one that's about fighting capitalism, and then one that's about fighting people who hate dragons. So
I would also fight people who hate dragons, so I get it.
Yeah.
Yeah,
It,
I mean, I, I'm gonna blame the books I read growing up. I read a lot of dystopian novels as a kid, so that probably didn't help.
well, I think it's
I'm
crazy
all a
that
bit.
like this movie's over 20 years old. I don't know when the novel was
Well,
written, but the movie was 2004, so we're looking at 22 years ago this was released.
oh, what the book for Howl's Moving Castle?
Yeah, I don't know when that was written.
Funny enough, so we'll start with House Moving Castle. So basically this is a Studio Ghibli film. It is one of my just it is one of the deepest loves of my life. I have centered so much around this book and this movie. Funny enough, I found the movie first and I read the book after. But this was one of those movies that I was talking about that had just an incredible star-studded cast. Like you would never know that it had Billy Crystal and Christian Bale, Josh Hutcherson, and a couple other ones that were in it that were just big names. So it's just so funny because what happened was this was when Disney was still doing the English dubs for these movies.
Hmm.
So when Disney was releasing them, they were just popping money into these movies. Funny enough, Howl's Moving Castle, the book itself, is actually a metaphor for the author having a disease she didn't know about.
Oh,
So she had a disease. It was basically like an allergy to dairy. Eric over here, that made her feel like she was an old woman trapped in a young person's body because she was in constant pain.
and could never have ice
So
cream.
that's where right, that too. You're not wrong. So the whole metaphor for the book was she felt like she was an old woman trapped in a young girl trapped in an old lady's body, and that's what inspired her to write House Moving Castle. The book itself is a little bit weirder and a little bit darker with some things, I will say, but overall, when Miyazaki adapted it for film, he did pretty well, in my opinion, on keeping it from where it was in the book. I mean, like you said, there's so many crazy things that go inside this movie, like fighting against the government, like basically fighting a war that doesn't need to be fought, because you come to find out at the beginning of the movie that there's a missing prince. So these
Hmm.
two kingdoms are warring over one kingdom thinking the other one stole it. And you come to find out like what happens with it and all that. The other funny thing that I tell people all the time about this movie is I unknowingly did not realize that this book and this movie inspired my favorite book series.
Which one's that?
So I am of Court of Thorns and Roses.
Um,
So the main love interest in those books, you come to I found out eventually that she based, and if when I looked at it, when I went and looked back at later, like the line that you did watch the part where he was like, I've been looking for you everywhere, that part happens in those books. And there's a lot of parallels between the main character and the main love interest in A Court of Thorns and Roses. So it was just always so funny to me because somehow I find a way to bring everything I love back to Howl's Moving Castle.
well, I think it's also interesting that this was nominated for best animated feature. It sucks
Yes.
that it lost to
Well,
friggin' Wallace and Gromit, but
we won't even talk about that. I will never forgive. I can't believe it lost to Wallace and Gromit, considering the layers and layers of fucking just everything within this film. Like
mhm.
losing to Wallace and Gromit when you have that much of a masterpiece. The funny thing is, so it was done by a director whom I love, respect, and just anything he watches will be sat, and that is Hayao Miyazaki. He runs and owns Studio Ghibli. He started it. He created it. This man, there's like a running joke on the internet how they can't get this man to fucking retire.
Well, I bet this. So this was my first Studio Ghibli movie. Like I've always
Yeah.
seen previews for them when I go to see other movies, like because it's always a Fathom
Yep.
event. Especially when I go
Yes.
to watch Dragon Ball Z and stuff like that, they pump in the Studio Ghibli like movies that
Yes.
are dropping for the year.
Well, that leads back to like the cult classics. Like when I tell you the biggest cult I've ever been a part of is Studio Ghibli. It's absolutely Studio Ghibli. Those films are well loved, well received by critics and audiences alike. Spirited Away won the first Academy Award as an animated film,
Mhm.
which is another it's another Miyazaki film. So like Studio Ghibli is such a massive pillar in Japanese pop culture, like massive. When you go to Japan, there's another film called Totoro. You see Totoro fucking everywhere because he is the mascot for Studio Ghibli. I've watched so many of these films. They are so like deep into my heart and soul. I love them because they are not just for children. There is so much to it. Even though it is an animated movie,
Mhm.
there's so much to it for adults, and like Miyazaki has just created absolute masterpieces. There used to be a meme going around that made me laugh because you'd probably appreciate this. And it says, like, Disney, we can't think of anything original, so we're just going to remake our old stuff. And then it says, Studio Ghibli, we cannot physically restrain this old man from entering the building and making the saddest movie about grief with the freakiest little guy. They actually banned Miyazaki from the property at one point.
Mhm.
Told him told him they like he's like 80 or he's like almost 90 years old, still making movies, by the way. They literally had to tell him, like, no, old man, stay home. You retired. And I think he has retired 3 separate times, come out of retirement, produced an absolute masterpiece of a film. Because basically the running joke is he can't trust his son.
Mhm.
He keeps trying to let his son take over, and every time he does, he releases one of the worst Ghibli movies. Like, it's just the funniest thing. Like, everyone's like, oh, Goro made a film. Miyazaki's going to come out of retirement again.
Yeah, he's 85. Looking him up.
Yeah, did you look him up?
Mhm. I think it's interesting
I
he
can't
worked
explain.
for Toei Animation. Like that was his first
Yes,
job.
yeah.
So that's pretty cool.
He has done a lot, honestly. He also makes me laugh because like if you look at him and how he looks and how he dresses and how he acts, and then you see him create the most light and beautiful films you'll ever see. It's just so funny that all these happy, wonderful children's movies come from a man who looks like he belongs in a Japanese noir film.
Yeah, he looks like he could be a villain.
Yeah, because he's constantly like shaking his head. He's constantly chain smoking. He just looks so completely done with life, and then he just makes the most amazing movies. It's insane. And a lot of his movies, on top of having there's just a great like storyline. Some of them do have like different levels to them for analogies and things. Like Spirited Away is a big analogy for the child trafficking problem in Japan and like
Hmm.
brothels and stuff.
Well, makes sense
But the
because
things
they only
he's done,
release like
yeah.
one every like 2 or 3 years, right? Like even though this is a big studio, it only has like 20
Mhm.
things they've put out.
Yes. Yes. But that's because with Miyazaki, like he's not gonna put out something unless it's just incredible,
Hmm.
honestly. I've watched a good majority of Studio Ghibli and I love them. There was at one point a successor studio because a lot of people from Ghibli didn't want to stop because they thought Ghibli was going to slow down and stop. And they
Hmm.
created a successor studio called Studio Ponok. And they did a movie called Mary and the Witch's Flower. And Mary and the Witch's Flower was also incredible. Same animation style, same like thought process of like, having like an incredible storyline, everything like that. But it's just so funny because like the reason they did a successor was because they didn't want another generation to grow up without the magic that they had growing up from Studio Ghibli itself.
Hmm.
But I will tell that movie, I will send that movie to anybody. I watch that movie when I'm sad, when I'm happy, when I'm bored, when I want to go to bed. Like, I've probably watched that movie an astronomical amount of times. It's the only reason I still have HBO Max as a subscription because that's where I can stream all of them.
Yeah, it makes sense. I remember them adding that and like that being a big acquisition on their part.
Oh yeah, that was huge because everywhere else Netflix has it, but when they did for the US, the HBO Max got it, and I said as long as they have it, that is where I'll be.
Hmm.
If Netflix ever get it, I will begrudgingly switch to Netflix because fuck Netflix. But wherever those are, that's where I'll be. Like I have a little nook in my room full of Studio Ghibli things. I did Hal and Sophie for Halloween one year with my ex, but fuck him. Like I can't even begin to explain just how much that movie is such a whole like part of my heart. I have 2 different copies of the book because they're 2 different special editions. Like House Moving Castle is just I can't speak enough good things about it. You'll have to finish it for me one day and tell me how you really feel.
Yeah, it's so when it comes to the animation style Studio Ghibli, it's just never hooked me. Because again, I've seen so many
Yeah.
previews for it because when it comes to Japanese animation, the only thing I've ever gotten into is the Dragon Ball franchise,
I
and
was gonna
even
say,
that I
you're not
loosely
really
watch.
an anime.
Yeah,
Yeah, you're not really an anime person.
so it's very hard for me to get into these, because so many people have tried to pitch me on different anime shows here and there, and I've tried them. I just don't. I don't know what it is. I just lose interest. I don't even know why I have interest in Dragon Ball. To be honest with you, it's probably just from the nostalgia fact of coming home from school and it being on. Like that's probably the only reason. Like Toonami is the only reason I got hooked on Dragon Ball. Which you would think, like Gundam Wing and things like that would have caught me too, because Toonami showcased all of these anime studios. But for whatever reason, only Dragon Ball stuck.
I think it's like just that typical white boy anime. Like there's always going to be one in every generation.
Mhm.
I think like for us, I think our generation is split between Dragon Ball and then either Attack on Titan or My Hero Academia.
Yeah, and to be honest, with Dragon Ball, it's probably, and they don't even use this. It's the Bruce Falconer instrumental soundtrack that I remember most vividly about it, to the point where I go back and
Yeah.
watch old Dragon Ball Z stuff, like Kai or whatever. That's just gone back to the Japanese music. It's like, oh, this sucks. And I like the show, so I don't know.
One of
I'm
my
weird.
one of my favorite things to do to piss off Dragon Ball Z fanboys is telling them that Goku would lose in a fight to Sailor Moon
Dude,
because it's true. No, it's true. The
no, I'm not
creator
saying
of
it's not.
Dragon Ball has used.
Dude loses to like most of the people he fights.
Oh, okay. I was
Yeah,
gonna say the creator of Dragon Ball Z himself even said if it comes down to a fight between Sailor Moon and Goku, Sailor Moon is tanking Goku. Like,
a friggin' stat came out where like most of his finishing moves where he's won a fight is a kick. It's none of his like energy blasts or anything like that. He
yeah.
ends the battle on a kick, and it's like, what?
Meanwhile, Sailor Moon's a literal goddess, so he's fucked.
Yeah, I could see why Vegeta's always pissed at him, because like he doesn't deserve to be held in such high regard.
Oh yeah, but no, I think with Studio Ghibli, it's just it has become such like a name. Like I'm glad that it's gotten more and more popular over the years. Like the most recent film,
Hmm.
it had Florence Pugh, Emily Blunt, Mark Hamill, Robert Pattinson, a couple others. Like it was crazy the names they had for that movie. They have another film where they had Tina Fey, Liam Neeson, um, Matt Damon, the younger Jonas brother, the younger Cyrus daughter. Like it is nuts what they'll do, and it's just like I'm sad every time. Like I don't even know what the movie's about. The last time I walked into one of those films when they came out, which was The Boy and the Heron, I had no idea what I was watching. But as soon as I knew it was Studio Ghibli, we bought the tickets.
No, I get that. There's certain things, like I mean, I'm gonna always be there for a Star Wars movie or
Right.
a Marvel movie, so I get
Yeah.
that. When you've got the studios got you in their pocket, you're pretty much set.
The studio's got us in our pocket, but it's not one that's abusing our money, if
Yeah.
that makes sense. Like
Like
I have
Marvel.
never really been disappointed. Right. Yeah. I've never been disappointed by a Studio Ghibli movie ever. So
Yeah.
now we're going to move on to the next one, which was probably arguably the weirdest of the bunch. And this is the one that I'm most excited to talk. Oh, no. Sorry. The next one is V for Vendetta. The one after that's going to be my
Which
most
is a
excited.
DC
So-
comic.
V for Vendetta?
Yeah, it was a limited graphic novel run by DC.
I did not know that.
Oh, yeah, it's great. Like it was DC Vertigo comics, but it was a limited series
Huh.
graphic novel.
I wonder if it's how different it is from the movie. I may have to pick that up.
I have it. Because
I might borrow it.
I read
love
with things with pictures. That's how I do my reading.
that, and that's listen. As long as you're reading, that's all. Like you're talking to the girl who reads 75 books a year. I don't care what you're reading as long as you're reading.
Yeah, it's the only way I read is if it's got pictures.
No, but V for Vendetta. I mean, that is just an absolute banger of a fucking fight the authority movie like that. And it is just so well done. Like everything comes so full circle within that film. It's insane. Basically, this movie, if you haven't seen it, first of all, rethink your life choices. Honest to God. Everyone should watch this movie at some point in their life just for the symbolization and what it basically does. It's in a different era of London where there's pretty much a dictator running London. And there is this guy who comes out. There's no name for him. He's just wearing a Guy Fawkes mask, and he basically says, "Hey, you guys have a year to get your shit together, or I'm gonna bomb Parliament."
Mhm.
And you find out throughout the movie who this guy is, why he's doing it, why he was justified in doing it, and basically how crazy, you know, the layers of government and like corruption is within London at that point.
Well, we're coming up on the 20th anniversary of the release. It's
Yeah, because it was 2000.
6.
Yeah,
It was supposed to be in 2005. They were trying to tee it up with the Guy Fawkes night or whatever, like the 400th anniversary
yeah,
of that or something.
November 5th, 5th
Yeah,
of November. Yes,
but it got kicked to March 17th of the following year. So I mean, we're coming up on the 20th anniversary, and it's so weird, like how 20 years later, I wish it was happening here.
it's still painfully relevant.
Yeah. And
Like,
the crazy thing is the screenplay for the movie is by the people who did The Matrix, the twins or the
really,
sisters,
that,
yeah, or brothers.
yeah.
I don't know. I don't know what they are anymore. But
No, I think this is one of the most incredibly like well written, well thought out movies. Like, is like in terms of like why he had the reason to, because it was personal, but it was also on top of that just about bringing down a corrupt government, and
Mhm.
it shows you that if we actually stand up and fight, what can be done. Because everyone's scared at the beginning of the movie, but by the end of the movie, they realize that there's more of them than there are of us, or more of us than there are of them.
Yep. It's
And
it's one of my favorite, hands down. Like this is
yeah,
something I've watched multiple times.
oh
Um,
yeah, I'll watch it every November 5th. But I'm not, I will not, like, I always do. Just
mhm.
because it is, especially now, especially in today's climate, it has become so just ungodly relevant, and I hate it because this movie should have never become relevant to our current society again. But now we are at the point where unfortunately I do think everybody is going to have to stand up and realize that there's more of us than there is of them.
Yeah, yeah. And to not go too deep into politics, the way things have been playing out just within the last month, it's trending in a very dangerous direction because the top guy's realizing he doesn't have as much power as he thinks.
Right. Right. And I think it's crazy to see how well done, like, if you really just take a step, it'll it'll like one thing can set something in motion to let everything fall. And that's very obvious in that movie.
Hmm. Well, the final scene
It's
is
I
just
love
somebody
I
fucking. It's the guy that fucks up and shoots the kid that really sets off the
Yeah.
whole
Yes.
chain of events. And again, eerily, I just got goosebumps saying that because of like where we are
Yep.
with actual life.
I know.
Um, and it's going to be something like that, unfortunately. And but like to even put this aside, the fucking all-star cast in this. Like you were talking about Studio
Right.
Ghibli hitting heavy hitters, you've got heavy
Right.
hitters
Natalie
here.
Portman. This is
You
one of Natalie Portman's best movies I've ever seen. Hands down.
Yeah, you got Hugo Weaving. Friggin' Jonathan Hurt is the fascist dictator. He's the war
Yep.
doctor for you Doctor Who fans. He was also the
Yes. Yes.
dad in Hellboy with Ron Perlman.
Yes.
Um, but yeah,
But I
it's
mean, this is probably one of the, because they actually shaved her head for this movie, so
mhm.
they had one shot for that scene, and they had to get it right. And that's just like the whole like I think one of the craziest parts of that is the torture scene where she's in the jail cell,
Mhm.
and he's trying to prove she doesn't, like, the whole thing, like her getting like tortured, the head shaved, like thinking she's gonna die, and just then eventually giving up. Like Natalie Portman, if Portman didn't win awards for that movie, I'll be pissed as shit. Like she did so good for that.
So she's kind of a weird outlier in this casting because it takes place in London, and she's obviously
I
not
know.
from London. But still did so well to the point where like I don't even care. Let's keep moving along. Um,
Yeah.
this film, she was I'm looking at the awards because it got nominated for a lot of stuff. She won the
Yeah.
Saturn Award for Best Actress, but they it doesn't look like they won any Oscars or anything like that.
That's a crime.
It's because it's a comic book movie. They don't nominate comic
Yeah.
book movies unless you
Well, but
die.
But you forget that I had no idea it was a comic book movie. I just thought it was just a really good fucking movie. Like,
No, I agree, but the Academy's a bunch of dicks that immediately saw the source material and went, no, we can't nominate that. But it only won, didn't win many awards, which is a shame.
yeah. Well, and I think another trend for me is like cult classics, where like they're not popular when they first come out, but
Mhm.
then people realize just how good they are and they gain the popularity after.
Yeah, I mean, it was super controversial when it comes to politics because
Yeah.
it went after totalitarianism, homosexuality, Islamophobia, terrorism. Like it hit like everything that nobody wants to talk about, and
Yeah.
it hit it hard. Of like, just let people fucking live. Just leave people alone. God.
I think it's also funny that this movie is set in London, but it came out here. So
Mhm.
like it's not like saying it's gonna happen here, but like also we should probably be careful.
Oh, history repeats itself, and if you ignore history, it's doomed to happen quicker.
Absolutely.
And we're at that point.
Absolutely. Well, that's like when things were getting bad for the first time, when
Mhm.
Anonymous started doing all that stuff, they used the Guy Fawkes mask.
Yep.
Like there's a reason that there's a reason for him being the symbol that he is, and for that. And I get it.
No, 100%. And I mean, the source material was written by somebody from London, so I get why it gets like that's why it's based. But everything about it is just history repeats itself. Is all you can keep saying. And you watch things play out, and you can draw parallels. You watch like all the shows today. If people go back and watch them 20 years from now, they're gonna see like, oh, that's what they're like. I don't know if you caught it, but Wonder Man. Actually, well, not Wonder Man. We'll jump into Daredevil Born Again. Wilson
I did
Fisk.
watch some of Wonder Man though.
Yeah, but like Wilson Fisk is Trump. Like all the things that are happening in New York City is kind of a parallel to what's happening in DC. And they
Well, I
wrote
mean,
that and then directed that before he actually took office. So,
well, that's like when the original oh my God, Winter Soldier and Falcon was starting, right?
hmm
And everyone was pissed. They're like, "Why is it getting political?" And everyone's like, "What are you talking about?" Stan Lee has always comic books have always been political. Always.
the X-Men was about segregation and racism. Like
Literally, right?
he just
And
made it about
that's
mutants so people would buy it.
right. But it's so funny because that has become like such like a stale fucking sentence anymore.
Mhm.
Well, why does it have to be political? I hate like, and it's so crazy because like I hate to break it to you people who don't get it, but like everything has always been political. Books have always been political.
Mhm.
Movies have always been political. Comics have always been political. Music has
Yep.
always been political. Clearly, like stuff like that, it's going to be political because that's what our world centers on. So, of course, it's going to be political.
Yeah, you can't sit there and say you hate the stuff that's written by a guy putting his self on paper when you listen to a guy who puts his self into music and he sings about how great America is with his gun, his Chevy, and his trailer. That's political.
Right.
That's just you're shooting your shot to your
Exactly.
demographic, and then somebody said, "Let me take that and try to globalize it."
And that's like, why are books political? Have you like, what do you mean since when are books political? Like
Mhm.
running, like me realizing that all of mine are about bringing down a government because all I did was read about fighting back for what's right.
Yeah.
And
So,
that's always going to be a theme.
oh, 100%. If you want product that's not does not have the heart of the artist in it, just have AI generate it. Because at this point, that's what dictates and makes things great is the person who made it cares about it and cares about what they were talking about. Whether it's your point of view or their point of view, it doesn't fucking matter. The guy who created it, if he doesn't have his heart in it, it's not going to have the success. It fails out of the gate because it just doesn't have that care.
I think you're never gonna really find a piece of like a piece of media that is just so good that isn't centered around something that's taboo, if that makes sense.
Yeah. If it
Like
doesn't have a deeper
you
meaning, then what's the hell's the point?
right,
It's reality TV,
exactly.
which even that
Right.
has a slant to it, and that's got to
Right.
just to keep you interested.
I mean, take a look at some of the biggest books and movies that have come out. The Hunger Games. If you really think about it, Harry Potter, like it's all about fighting against a bigger evil that's trying to take down everyone else.
Yeah, which is crazy because
Star Wars,
yeah,
right? Like
100%.
Marvel, like all of them.
The Harry Potter aspect of it. Like I get that she has her points on or her views on transgenders, but realistically, the entire series revolves around somebody really hating half-bloods. Like he got
Right.
pissed off that there was intermingling. So it's got that message. Why is it got to be political about that? Like
Every
it's a
at its
source.
core, everything's political. At its core, it's always
Mhm.
gonna be.
Yeah, because the best stories are somehow grounded in reality,
Exactly.
and that's why
Exactly.
this
There
movie is
has
so
to
damn
be
good.
right. There has to be the best stories have to have relatability
Mhm.
in some way, whether it be right up front about it or whether it be layered in nuance.
It,
There's always relatability.
it's just weird that as you're watching this, and like imagine watching this when it first came out, you usually take these type of movies and draw it back to World War II and the Holocaust. Like that's like the epitome
Right.
of evil in
Right.
history. And now we're watching
Yeah.
it in 2026 going, ouch, we're doing some of this shit
Well, it's
again.
like it's kind of like that, like when you're learning about it in school and you're like, how did it happen? How did we let this happen?
Mhm.
Take a look outside.
Yeah. Yeah. The craziest point, again, try not to go too down the political hole,
No,
but
I know.
to sit there and watch to go back and re-examine history in 1990s when you and I were in school in the early 2000s, and you would sit there and say, okay, Germany was bad, and that was an absolute statement. Now we're living in a time where half of America made a bad decision, and the other half said no. But when history looks back at America at this point in 20 to 30 years, they're going to say America was bad. And unfortunately, we
Right.
fall in that goddamn hole,
Yes.
and you lose the nuance.
Absolutely.
And that's why these projects are
Absolutely.
much more powerful because of the nuance. And that's I love this movie. This movie should be seen. It should be put in history classes. I know it's fiction, but it really has.
It should be mandatory. No, I agree. Like
Yeah,
when your teacher is like too hungover to function, let's go watch V for Vendetta.
100%. It just shows the intolerance is ultimately the worst source of
Yeah.
evil.
Yep. It's not just intolerance, but ignorance.
Mm-hmm.
100%.
Fear makes people do stupid shit, and you see what happens in movies like this. What happens that like, oh, you're not like me, so I got to stop that because I don't
Well, that's
understand
also like
you.
the
Fuck it.
well, that's also like the ignorance is bliss thing. Well, it's
Mm-hmm.
not happening to me, so it's not happening at all.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, 100%.
But yeah, I mean,
So
I
fuck fascism, onto fuck capitalism.
honestly, you're not wrong. So on to the next one, which is arguably, like I said, this is probably the one that I was most interested in forcing you to watch because it is the weirdest one of the bunch.
Well, you have me
So
hooked
this is,
because I've always been in love with Alexa Vega, and that's my Spy Kids showing.
I know. So I personally, I was introduced to this movie by one of the songs in the movie, and then eventually we went and watched it later, and it just I never left. It's like you know that like meme where it's like I'm out of the building. No, I never got out of the building.
Mm-hmm.
I got stuck, and I'll never get out because I am obsessed with this movie. So it's Repo the Genetic Opera, which is basically a musical. It's a rock opera about organ repossession, and this also has layers of like what a fucking mess we are too, because this basically it's almost like what like kind of
It's
like classism, right? Like
it's
because like
capitalism unchecked.
yeah, classism too, because
Yeah.
the whole point of the movie is at one point in the distant future, organ failure is just an epidemic. They don't know why, they can't fix it, but they did start creating synthetic organs. Now, because of that, they were able to completely synthesize any body parts basically. But now in this day and in that day and age with like with the setup, you know, organ replacements are like a fashion fad too. So it's like, oh, I might be a mess, but my whole body is brand new on the inside, so I'm doing great.
Hmm?
Like there's a scene where the one lady was like, I was a liver failure and an alcoholic, but I have a new liver now and I'm fine. Like, no, babe, that's not something to brag about.
And again, we talked about the parallels between V for Vendetta and today. the parallels of this and today.
I know.
With
Especially
Ozempic.
with the Zydrate. Oh God, the Zydrate. So the big
It's crazy how movies from 20 years ago are just hitting differently
I know.
20 years later.
And then this is another one with an incredible cast, like we were talking about. You've got Anthony Head. You have Alexa Vega, like you said. Paul Sorvino, like that was just a random one. Paris Hilton. And then you've also got two other random, very well-known people in the music industry, which was the character Blind Mag, like I told you before. She is done by one of the most famous sopranos of all time, Sarah Brightman. And then Pavi, one of the brothers, he is actually the guitarist for a band called Sick Puppy.
Mm-hmm.
So there was a lot of people in this movie.
There's also the cameo from Joan Jett.
Yeah, yep.
So it's like, oh, like it was a good movie. I really enjoyed it. Yeah,
you did? Oh my
I
gosh,
did.
no way!
Uh,
I'm excited about that.
I don't normally jump into musicals.
I know.
Because I've people keep telling me that I have to still watch The Greatest Showman. Like, and
Yeah.
they're surprised that I haven't watched it yet, and I'm like, well, it's
I mean, I am a little bit
musical.
because it's Hugh Jackman.
Yeah, that's basically the argument that people make. Like, you haven't watched, like, Hugh Jackman, Wolverine's in there singing. And I'm like, yeah, I
Right.
know, but I'm not a fan of Wolverine singing. Okay, so, but there's very few musicals that I'll like. I watch Rocky Horror, and it's because it's got good music.
Right.
I liked oh, what the hell is the Johnny Depp one?
Sweeney Todd.
Yeah, I watched that. I didn't hate the musicals, like the music's in that and the score in that. And this one's another one. Like, I mean, if you put rock into a musical, I'm in. Like, I like Little Shop of
That's
Horrors
why
because the music's got a
I
little bit of a beat to it. So
I did think that you might like this one because it wasn't like a musical. It's a rock opera.
mhm.
And it's not like your typical like there is blood, guts, gore, like fighting, like everything. Like it's raunchy.
I really do enjoy musicals that take a twist, like take a different interpretation than the standard of like, oh, there's a problem down at the shore. Let's talk about the problem at the shore via song.
Right.
Like, fuck that. No, let's.
One of the other things I really liked was the cinematography in this movie. I loved so they had talked about this before. So the other cool thing that you might not realize is the director and the producer. It was Terrence Nugent and Darren Lynn Bousman, which Darren Lynn Bousman might be familiar to you because he did quite a few of the Saw movies.
Yes.
So him and Terrence said that the one thing that they always really wanted for this film was a very obvious beginning, middle, and end. So the character, the grave robber, do you remember him?
hmm
So that's actually Terrence. That's actually the producer.
Speaking of that guy, I'm fair, like, because I like before we do our little recording, or not a little recording, so before we do our recordings, I like to look them up on Wikipedia and stuff to get information.
He's a beast.
His picture for Terrence, I'm fairly certain, is from the Monster Mania convention in 2010,
Possibly.
based on the background because it looks like that damn hotel.
It could be. There's also a chance. So I actually got to meet those two before. So they did two other movies together, called The Devil's Carnival. There was 1 and 2, and when they did a road show for the second Devil's Carnival, and if you paid $60, keep that price in mind. You got access to the movie. You got a meet and greet with Darren and Terrence. You got a signed poster and access to the Q&A before the movie.
Yeah, that pays for me to share popcorn with the boys at a movie right now. That's about it.
Right, exactly. So I got to meet those two. They were incredibly, really sweet human beings. Both of Terrence is an absolute mountain of a human being, and he's also incredibly talented because, like I said, he's grave robber. That's all him singing too.
Okay.
So the one thing that they did point out was they always wanted a beginning, a middle, and an end. So every time, grave robber shows up in all 3 of those parts. So when he does the beginning, the middle, and the end, that's like signifying it. So he showed up at the beginning in the scene where you see him robbing the Zydrate. Then you see him show up again when he does the song with Alexa Vega and Paris Hilton. And then at the very end when he's kind of tying it all together and kind of almost being the narrator of the film.
It makes sense.
Yeah. I also really liked when they were trying to explain things from the past, how they would flash back to like those comic book films. I loved it was such a cool and easy, quick way to make it different, but also give you the background that was needed without like making everything confusing.
Yeah, and that's why I think I kind of like accepted this
Yeah,
because it's a unique twist on musicals. Because there's a standard formula to most musicals that are a pain in the balls and
absolutely.
annoying.
Yeah.
But then like I said, like this Rocky Horror, Sweeney Todd, they throw in elements that just kind of like I always loved about Rocky Horror. You had the narrator who was also the
Mhm.
criminologist that does all that stuff on the backside, and then you jump to what's happening.
Right. So that's basically Grave Robber in this.
Mhm.
While he is involved, he's also basically narrating the whole thing for everybody throughout the movie and the more important parts. Unfortunately, and the only and I will scream about this till I am blue in the face. There was supposed to be, obviously, by the ending, a sequel,
Mhm.
but Lionsgate fucked it up. So that's the thing. This was originally Lionsgate and Twisted Pictures. They were
Mhm.
supposed to be a sequel, but something happened and they got into a massive fight with Lionsgate. And Lionsgate basically held it in limbo and in prison for a long time. And pretty much by the time that they had access to it again, which I think was like 10 years after the initial film came out,
Yeah.
that point they were just like, well, it's kind of
It,
like it's too late.
yeah.
Right.
The-
There's
the-
still always, every once in a while, you hear a little rumor about doing it. And I will say, most of the cast has said if they want to do another one, they'll do it. Like Paris Hilton has been down for it. Alexa Vega has been down for it. Unfortunately, I believe Paul Sorvino did pass away.
yeah.
And I believe the gentleman from Skinny Puppy also passed away. I could be wrong. But characters like his character wouldn't be too hard to replace because he's wearing those weird masks the whole
No,
time.
he's still alive.
He is. Okay,
Nivek
maybe
Ogre
then it
or
was
whatever
just
the hell his name
Skinny.
is.
Huh?
Nivek Ogre.
I'm not sure. Maybe it was just the fact that Skinny Puppy stopped being a band. Maybe that's what I'm thinking of.
Yeah. So
Um,
realistically, you only lost Paul Savino.
right,
Sorvino.
and it wouldn't really make a difference because he was dying throughout the movie anyways.
Mhm.
So, I love the songs of this. I could sing Nigerian Anatomy in my fucking sleep. That song was what hooked me because it sounds almost like a nursery rhyme with the way that you do it, and in reality, it's about drugs.
Yeah. So when this first came out, in what 2008.
8.
So we had a mutual friend at the time that was really hyping this up, and that's kind of why I just like if somebody hypes a movie too much, I'll just stay away from it. And he really hyped this up, and it sucks because now here we are almost 20 years later, and I just finally saw it. Um,
Yeah,
Especially since it's got that cult vibe of Rocky Horror, and
I
that's one of
know.
the
And
go-to
and it's
movies.
not just the vibe, it gets that following.
Yeah.
So every once in a while they used to do road shows and you would have people dress up, you would have people singing in the theaters, everything. But like I said, they had to leave it alone for a while because of Lionsgate. So basically what they ended up doing was they created Devil's Carnival. Devil's Carnival also had a crazy pretty Paul Sorvino came back for both Devil's Carnivals. And if you ever get the chance to watch Devil's Carnival, that one's also funny because it's basically heaven and hell, but
Hmm.
heaven are the bad guys. And you hear a lot of the things and stuff, and it's just kind of like, oh shit, okay, hell's making sense.
Lionsgate's
There's
not
a,
one of those studios that was tied up with the freaking Weinstein shit, was it?
no,
Okay.
this happened years ago, even before the Weinstein thing, anyways. But
Well, I
one
know
of the
a
craziest,
lot of their movies got tied up because of he was holding them hostage.
yeah, no, it was just they got into a fight for some reason. So, but there's a line in like Devil's Carnival where it's like where one of them says like I'm not in the business of killing children. That's God's job. And I was like, "Whoa." I was like, "Oh shit." Like
always,
that,
always appreciate a shot at the church.
right? And it's crazy like both of those movies are just as good as this in my opinion, but Repo is the I think of all the movies I've seen, Repo is the epitome of cult
Hmm.
followings. Like this because this movie had to like disappear for so long, they laugh because like to this day they're like, we love that you still love this movie the way that you do. Like
No,
we still get they still get asked to this day for a sequel and stuff like that.
it's definitely our generation's Rocky Horror. Because I mean, you think
Yeah.
about Rocky Horror, it flew under the radar. They had to. I actually just watched a documentary about the Rocky Horror with Richard O'Brien, where basically they had to move it to the midnights. Like it did so well as a musical. When they made a film, they had to move it to the midnight, and that's when the midnight following got the cult following. And here we are 40, 45 years later, where it's like the biggest thing on the planet, way past its prime. So I would love to see a documentary on this and how it progresses over the next 20 years. If
Yeah.
it hits the same level of where like, hey, Alexa Vega wasn't supposed to do it. Like Susan Sarandon wasn't supposed to be in the movie Rocky Horror because her agent was like, that'll kill your career.
There are things like that that they've produced themselves.
Mhm.
Like there was a scene cut from this movie where you understand why there's more of like a relationship, like why there's more of a, like what's going on between Grave Robber and Amber Sweet,
Mhm.
because there was a sex scene cut from the movie that would have brought it together just a little bit more. Well, Terrence was talking about how there was the first day his kids joined him on set was
That's
the
when they
day
were
that
shooting
they
it.
were
Timing.
literally. He goes, me and Paris Hilton are supposed to film a sex scene, and my entire family's here. And that she's the one that shocks me the most. If you talk about Freebo to her, she still loves it. She loves that she was in it. So like knowing her and who she is as like a person and how she portrays herself, her loving that movie is so funny to me
Mhm.
because it's very much not her.
Oh yeah, I think some of her best work is what makes her uncomfortable.
One of her best movies was House of Wax.
Yeah, the movies where they're poking fun of her or
Yeah.
like they make her feel very uncomfortable.
Yeah. But yeah, she still like all of them would do another one, and I could only hope and pray that they would, but who knows. I do love it. I love that it's a different musical, like, because I do like normal musicals, but having this be the musical that it was and having them turn a literal horror film into a musical was just so funny to me.
I'm eager to see how you transition to your final pick.
Oh, my How to Train Your Dragon.
How do you go
My
from harvesting organs to training dragons?
I need something to balance out the dark.
Clearly.
I never said I wasn't a weird person. I got a lot of childhood trauma going on up here. I got to balance it out somehow.
Yeah, you're not wrong. After fighting the fight, now you're like, oh well, I'm gonna take it down a level and clean my palate with the DreamWorks.
Right. Which is, again, I mean, DreamWorks is, we love DreamWorks here. So, yeah, so last one we do have here is one of the cutest, most amazing, wonderful animated films that you're going to get from non Disney, which is How to Train Your Dragon. I, I don't think I have to describe it. I don't think I have to
Mm.
talk about it. Pretty sure everybody's seen this movie and everybody loves it. I don't think I've ever met a single person who's told me that they don't like that movie.
So I don't hate it, but I don't have the adoration for it that a lot of other people have.
But you still enjoyed it, is the point.
Yeah, I mean, the kids love it, and when it's on, it's
Right.
not like I get up and leave the room. So
Exactly. That's my point. I don't think I've found a single person who has been like, no, that's a terrible movie. Because it's not. Because there's so many good elements to that movie. Like, not just the storyline alone, but whoever hired the composer for that movie deserves a kiss. Because the
mhm.
score of that movie, I'm not one who normally pays attention to that shit like that. But the way that they scored that movie is incredible. Like I loved like that it completely rounded out that whole movie.
Mhm. It's a good movie. It's definitely out of DreamWorks' collection. It makes sense as why that was a live adaptation that happened.
Yeah,
Um, and I think they did the live adaptation better than Disney does their live adaptations for the
absolutely.
most part.
I
Um,
love that they brought back some of the voice cast to portray their live action
mhm.
because that worked out really well. They've announced a couple others recently where they're bringing back the mom to do her character and stuff like that. But I mean, How to Train Your Dragon is another film where it's talking about standing up for yourself and standing up for what you love.
And I
It
think the guy casting in this too is phenomenal because the kids, it's Jay Baruchel, Jonah
yeah,
Hill, T.J. Miller, and McLovin. and all of them are like they do projects together, so there was an easy familiarity between them as they're doing the voice work.
Yeah, I mean, I think it was just it was so different from what Disney was doing at the time. So it was a nice, like, change on what was happening. And they did so well with it. Like, it was such a cute story. It was exactly what you needed from kids and for a kids movie. But it's one of those kids movies that it hits with everybody, not just kids, adults too.
Oh yeah, whenever I walk in the room, it's not the kids are glued to it. Jess is glued to it. That was a movie where I was bumped from taking them. Usually, I'm the guy that takes the kids to the movie
Yeah.
theaters, but this was the one that like she said she was taking them. There was
Oh yeah.
and I didn't fight it because again, not my all time favorite. Like I'll fight to the death on a Marvel movie, but this was something she wanted to take them to. So it's DreamWorks does it when they do it well. They do it very well, and
Right.
then they drive that franchise into the goddamn ground.
No, I will say they didn't drive this one. I will give them that. I think they understood that it needed a good ending because I don't think that I think 2 and 3 were very well done, and I'm glad that they stopped at 3. I was devastated that they stopped at 3 because I would have watched these movies until I died. Like, I thought I was gonna cry when I saw 3 because I was so upset that it was gonna be over. But I mean, from what they did, it worked out pretty well.
I'll give them credit. It's not the fucking Minions where they just nonstop. Or
They
no,
knew where to draw the line. Yes.
are they? Yeah, they are DreamWorks and Shrek. They beat the hell out of Shrek.
They're doing another Shrek movie.
Yeah, and you would think they gave it enough time to breathe, but is there ever really enough time for Shrek to breathe? No.
No, I think How to Train Your Dragon was. I mean, if you really think about it, they put 15 years between between the cartoon and the live action.
Did they?
Yeah.
Oh, the original, yeah.
Yeah, the first cartoon came out in 2010. The live action came out in 2025.
The third movie came out right before the pandemic, though, didn't it?
Third movie came out, yeah, probably. I think it was 2019. But I mean, that third movie was I still loved it. Like I said, they found a way to make those movies so well done, and they found a way to also make it feel like Hiccup was aging with you too. Like they did. They're so well animated. Like DreamWorks is great with their animation.
No, 100%. Like again, they hit gold when they hit gold. There's just some properties they like to milk really friggin' hard.
And I'm glad that this wasn't one. While they did milk it, they didn't destroy it.
Yeah. Actually, I took a shot at the Minions. I don't think they did Minions. I think Minions are Illumination.
Minions is Illumination. I'm sorry, you're right.
Yeah, but they beat the fuck out of Shrek and Transformers.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, no. I mean, there isn't really much that needs to be said about How to Train Your Dragon. It is what it is. Everybody knows it. I think of the ones on the list, this is probably the most well known, I would guess. So, but all right. Since I made you rank the first 4, what do you think they are, going from 4 to 1?
Oh, you're gonna hate me. Oh, what I think you rank them?
Yes.
Well, number 1 is the one that I didn't like or didn't finish.
Howl's Moving Castle, correct?
Yes.
Yeah.
I would say Train Your Dragon's probably after that, because somehow through all this darkness that you've given me over the last 8 films, those 2 bubbly ones seem to float to the top. And then I would probably say V and then Repo.
I would probably switch those 2.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay.
Repo,
you're very music oriented, so I should have called.
I am, and I think because that was just such a different concept, Repo really stuck with me because you hadn't really seen anything along the lines of what they did with that storyline with like the organ repossession either.
Okay, that makes
sense.
And
I am a horror girly, so
yeah, I should have factored in the music part.
All right, what was your ranking?
Oh, V's top. V would actually be on my top 8 probably if I sat down and wrote out like a top 10 list.
Yeah.
Probably Repo second, then Dragon, then I didn't finish the Studio Ghibli one, so that's gotta.
I'm pleasantly surprised that you enjoyed Repo because I had a feeling you might, but I was on the fence about whether or not you would.
Well, like I said, it was all over. Like I go to the horror convention, so it was all over
Yeah.
that when it was coming out because they
Yeah.
were also promoting Dark Knight around the same time. That's the only way it sticks out in my mind. And if we didn't have that one mutual friend who oversold it to the point where I took my stupid, stubborn stance of just, nope, not gonna say it now because you told me I had to. I probably would have seen this 20 years ago.
Yeah, it's a cool movie. It's definitely different and worth it. If you get bored, watch the other two. They're Devil's Carnivals. They are so good too.
Yeah, I'll definitely check it out.
Yeah. Well, I think that about wraps it up for this time around. What do you got going on, Dace? Because you're the one who has more of it.
So much. We stream Sunday, Monday, Thursday, Friday. Basement Protocol on Twitch. Jersey Fanatics Wednesday. Weekly Protocol Thursday. This on Fridays. The monthly protocol will drop once a month at Adventureland Store and streamed on Basement Protocol's Twitch. And then the big one's the Gameathon, April 10th to the 12th. All this information can be found on our socials at facebook.com/Basement Protocol Productions, as well as the basementprotocolproductions.com. So that's it in a nutshell, but there's a lot going on.
I mean, for once, there's a lot.
Yeah, it's crazy.
I mean, for me, it's pretty much just this, and hopefully if I can get a semblance of my voice back, I can start recording the one I want to record. I promise you it's going to happen, and I'm going to keep saying it so that way I hold myself to it. So, anyways, I think that is all for now, and on that note, enjoy everybody, and we'll see you behind the silver screen. Bye.